So we're heading to meet Heather and EJ to go camping with them this weekend. We're going to Caddo Lake State Park, and we have never been there. But this is why we go camping. Because we live in Houston, and as much as I love my city, we have a beautiful skyline, I still don't like the traffic. So we met up with Heather and EJ, and now we're putting everything in EJ's truck, and we're gonna go. We've all brought way too much stuff.
Oh, that can go probably in the back.
This is the inside. So they're setting up their tent over there, and then we're going to set up here because I don't think there's enough room for both of us. There might be, but we're okay with sleeping in on the ground. Putting our tent on the ground, I don't know. Trees are really pretty.
Let me show you the third story.
They have a little welcome mat. It's cute. And our tent's over there. Now we're gonna start unpacking. It might fit through the door.
Oh! Oh, there we go.
And it fits. Awesome. Nice. Now we're blowing up our air mattress, and we need to get one of these things instead of our hand pump. That's much easier.
We're going to see the owl program.
Yes.
I don't really know what it is.
I think they're going to try to call owls and see if they call back to us.
All over the world. It's a very big group of birds. And of course scientists are always arguing over, is this one species really two? And but it's about 220. In the United States we have 19 of those, and because in Texas everything is bigger and better, we have so many diverse types of diverse ecosystems. 15 of those owls live right here in Texas. Now most species of owls are nocturnal, meaning they are active during the night, but some of them, like the barred owl, which is going to be the star of our show tonight, is crepuscular, meaning that it is active also at dusk or dawn. Barred owls can actually be heard during the day too. What's the difference between our two owls in this picture?
One's brown.
Color. Yeah, color, thank you. It's like Rocky Horror Picture Show, it requires audience participation. So we have our gray morph, and then we have our red or our rufous morph. And here's another generalization for you. Scientists have tried to understand why, even though they have determined that these are the same species, I assume they've done some sort of genetic analysis, they've tried to say that the gray morph will usually be in an area like this that is evergreen, has a lot of pine trees in a coniferous forest, and that the red or the rufous morph will be in areas like in the east that have very deciduous forests. However, you can find both colors in the same nest. So that's just something they threw out there, hoping that it's just a generalization. And true to its name, it is found in the eastern half of the United States, a little bit in Mexico, and a tiny bit in Canada. They generally prefer forested areas. They will inhabit parklands or suburban areas. I grew up in Austin, and we had a screech owl that would hang out in our yard, and I've had other people from Central Texas say that they have screech owls that come visit them every year. So as long as you have a couple of trees in your yard, they might come give you a visit. Thought there's some pictures in there. So we've got our tiny little owlets. We got our red and our gray morph again, and another sleepy camouflage picture for you. Just thought there's some adorable pictures in there. Now these owls will lay anywhere from 2 to 8 eggs at one time in their clutch. Now owls are inherently lazy. They do not build their own nests. They will use a cavity if they are the right size, like the screech owl. They incubate the eggs for about 5 weeks, and mostly done by the female. Gosh, the mosquitoes are already coming out. And how adorable and sweet, they mate for life. Unless, of course, one dies and then they go find someone else. Alright, so this is a small bird, and it eats small prey. So, mice, squirrels, chipmunks, voles, moles, they'll catch a bat if they can. So typical owl fare. Now this owl has a call that we would not typically associate with an owl. It is not a hoot as we would call most owl calls. It is very, as this says, very eerie and mellow. I mean, I don't really know any other way to describe it. I'm going to play it for you, and there's also a whinny call that the female uses as an alarm call. So y'all can hear about that and see what you think.
That's the Winnie?
Yes, the whinny.
Okay.
So a 5.5-pound owl is going to be, he's a big boy. And of course there's his big tufts. Now the great horned owl, unlike the screech owl, is a habitat generalist. You will find this bird anywhere. It will live in anything. It will live in forests. It will live in canyons, on cliffs, anywhere. Anywhere it finds suitable. So you will find them all over North America. Even up in the great frozen north.
What size prey would a 5-pound great horned owl?
We're actually going to talk about that. That's a good question. So these owls will lay about 5 eggs in a clutch, and like I said, they'll take abandoned nests. They're too big to fit in a cavity, and they're too lazy to build their own nest. And they will incubate their eggs for about 5 weeks or so, again, mostly by the female. This being a big bird, it does have big prey. Same kind of stuff in general, you know, mice, rats, chipmunks, but they will take ducks, they will take possums, they will take all rabbits, and they will also take turkeys, if they can get one.
Wow.
And they will also take a skunk. In fact, the great horned owl is one of the only animals that regularly eats skunks.
Wow.
Apparently the smell doesn't bother them, and I'm sure we can thank them for that, top of the food chain. So they will both call, but the male will have a lower pitched hoot than the female will. What do you guys think about this?
That's what we heard at our house.
Yeah, we have these at our house.
Where y'all from?
Houston. Dickinson, actually.
There you go. Yeah, I've heard them once by where I live. I live right next to the National Wildlife Refuge, and you'd think I'd hear more stuff. But all I ever hear are the barred owls. And I heard one great horned owl way off in the distance, and that was 6 months ago. Alright, barred owl, star of the show. This one's slightly smaller than the great horned owl, but still very impressive. It does have about 3.5-foot wingspan at the most. It does weigh about 1 to 2 pounds. It does not have ear tufts. So back to the generalization we were talking about, that these owls that live in heavily forested areas will generally have ear tufts. This one does not. So generalization broken. Or what do they say in Mythbusters? Busted? Yeah, there you go. So anyway, I haven't watched that show in so long. But anyway, this owl does have something though to break up its outline. It's what gave it its name. All these streaks and bars right here. So it does have that. Very, very heavily streaked. Now the barred owl, like the eastern screech owl, typically lives in just the eastern half of the United States. However, lately they have made it over here into British Columbia and parts of Oregon and Washington. This is a giant problem because there's an owl over there that in the 80s caused a big deal. Does anyone know what that is? The spotted owl, exactly right. Couldn't log in certain places because it's endangered and all of that. Actually, I don't know what its status is now. I don't know if it's endangered or threatened. But either way, the barred owl is going up there, and they are either hybridizing with the owls and diluting their gene pool, or they are killing them and eating them for dinner, or pushing them out of their habitat.
Wow.
So, all here, you know, this is where they're from. They're cool. But out there, they're actually trying to catch them and relocate them to other places where they're actually supposed to be. This is a big deal. It sounds silly, but they make a big deal out of that spotted owl. They want to keep it around. Now, this owl prefers to be in places just like this. That's why we have so many of them. Swamps, waterways. Here we are, swamp, Caddo Lake. So we have more of them than we have any other owl. So many of them. I hear them arguing with each other all the time. Again, abandoned nest. Only about 3 eggs in clutch, and again, about 5 or 6 weeks to incubate the eggs. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, there you go. Thank you. So we talked about that term crepuscular. This is the bird that you will hear, although crepuscular means at dusk and dawn, this is a bird you will hear calling in the middle of the day. If you happen to hike up our trail back here, you will likely hear them calling. I don't know if they ever sleep. Now again, it's typical owl prey. However, because they do tend to live near swamps and bodies of water, they are very opportunistic. So they will eat small fish, turtles, crawfish, and water snakes, and anything else they can catch. I'm okay with them eating these guys. Always were eating my cat food. That's another story for another day. But anyway, the only time I ever thought one was cute was when I found one on my porch and it had babies on its back. I felt sorry for it then, but usually I don't. Alright, so this is, any field guide will tell you that the call of an owl kind of sounds like someone saying, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" I don't really think it sounds like that, but a good way to help you learn your bird calls is to compare it to a phrase, and then you can listen for that, and it helps you learn your calls. This doesn't do it for me, but you guys listen to it and see what you think. Well,
So we're gonna go down to the pier and look for owls.
Good calling too.
Can you see him? Yeah, I have him. Oh, wow.
Okay, I don't want to harass them too much. I just want to ask a really good question one time. The question was, we talked about how they have asymmetrical ears so they can tell what's above and below them. The question was, well, can't they tell that we're all the way down here and we're just a bunch of stupid people? And the answer is yes. However, these calls are realistic, so it still is enough to prompt them to come in. They're very territorial right now because they have a nest, and the babies may have hatched by now, and so that's probably why they're not very happy.
So we're having steaks, grass-fed beef steaks for dinner tonight, with some green and red bell peppers and some garlic. And yeah.
Yeah, so her friend told her to cut them up, like cut the steak into pieces and cut the vegetables up, put them in foil, and then put the foil in the fire?
Yes.
Okay.
And that way, like, if you have a grill, that's great, but this way, if you don't have the grill, you can just stick it in the fire. But the thing is we didn't bring tongs.
Oh, okay.
We
So
may not have that option.
well, we have this one, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
What is it? Is this the...
That's the olive oil, so we also brought asparagus.
Oh.
Ooh, do you want to put the asparagus in here, or do you want to save it for tomorrow night, babe?
It's whatever.
I brought 2 things of asparagus.
Oh.
So we can do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to pull those out of the cooler and like wash them off, and I'll break the ends of them off.
Yeah. You got like a lot of fancy stuff.
This is pretty much how we eat at home, like on a regular dinner night.
That's
We may
awesome.
be camping, but we're not roughing it.
That's awesome. Joel is over there and he's starting the fire. Thank you, Joel. And EJ. Fire.
That looks good.
Oh.
I'll eat it just like that.
EJ will do.
So we each got a little foil packet, and now she just put garlic on everything. And of course, salt and pepper. Nice. That's beautiful.
You can see all the steam coming out of the packet.
Now we're cooking our food. Yummy.
We'll have to thank my other friend Ashley for this one.
See? We're the best. Ashley's are the best.
Yeah,
Ashley's wrong.
I'll agree.
So we're having live kombucha soda. We're having live kombucha soda and blue St. Arnold's Blue Icon beer. And they're both really good. This one is flavored like root beer, and it's like fermented tea, and it tastes just like root beer. Here's how the food came out. And we have beans.
Look at this yumminess in our beans.
Oh man, that looks great.
And look at all the juices down in the bottom there. They didn't go anywhere.
That's awesome.
Look at the beans.
I'm gonna try the beans.
Oh, you can get the bean juice in the steak.
Oh yeah.
Those are good.
Perfect. Let's eat. Everybody has gone to bed now, and we just wanted to say good night. And we enjoyed sharing with you today, and we really appreciate you being here and watching. And we will see you again tomorrow. Good night, everyone.